Hey guys, it's Kellen Olive from Mindful Therapy Solutions, and today I'm giving you a simple mindfulness technique to help when you're feeling anxious. Okay, so the reason I wanted to give you this technique today is because a lot of times when we think about anxiety, it's hard to know how to cope, how to deal with anxiety in situations that you can't get away. A lot of times when you read about ways to deal with anxiety, it's things like take a 10-minute break or take a bunch of deep breaths or, things like that, which are very effective. But a lot of times when you feel anxiety, you're in the middle of a situation where you can't go anywhere, you're talking to a friend or you're driving or whatever, and you can't just stop what you're doing and remove yourself from the situation and, do yoga. So because of that, this is a technique that I use with my clients because I want them to have something that they can do in any situation that will help them with those anxious thoughts and feelings. So the first thing I want you to do is think about something that makes you feel anxious. Usually there's a thought or a feeling attached to that. So a lot of times for my clients, it's things like, I'm a failure. I'm annoying to people. I don't like going to the store because I'll have to see people there. Or, any dominating thought that makes you feel anxious. People are judging me. People don't like me. Or I don't like me. Or whatever. So I want you to think about that and really let it sink in for a second. And I know that can be kind of painful, but just stick with me because this is important. So let that sink in. Let that dominating anxious thought kind of fill you up. Notice what it's doing in your body. Notice what it's doing in your head. All of those things. Okay? So once you're really starting to feel that vulnerable, dominating, anxious thought, I want you to do this. Take that thought and say to yourself or in your head, I am having the thought that blank. So fill in the blank with whatever your thought is. So for instance, if I thought I'm a failure, that's my dominating thought, right? I would say, I'm having the thought that I'm a failure. Okay? And then kind of feel that out for a second. I'm having the thought that blank. Okay? So then the third thing I want you to say is, I am noticing that I'm having the thought that blank. So the failure scenario, I am noticing that I am having the thought that I'm a failure. Okay? So as you take yourself through these steps, the step one, having the thought, noticing what that thought is, that anxious thought, right? Then you take the step two, I'm having the thought that. And then step three is I'm noticing that I'm having the thought that. And you can also do this with feelings. I'm having the feeling that, or I'm noticing that I'm having the feeling that. So what that does is it allows you to kind of put some space between yourself and that thought. So instead of it being this defining thing like I'm a failure, that's pretty defining. That becomes who you are in that moment. Instead of it being that way, you get to take a step back and realize that maybe that's just a thought in your head. Maybe you aren't a failure. Maybe your brain is just telling you that you're a failure. Okay? It gives you that little bit of questioning that you need to be able to take a step back from it. So this can be a pretty powerful technique if you learn to implement it in your life. A lot of times we just kind of go day to day and we follow the thoughts that we have in our heads. We react to those things without ever really stopping and noticing that we have a lot more control in what we do with these thoughts than we think that we do. So even though these thoughts bring up a lot of anxious feelings and they're really difficult to deal with, getting that one step of distance away from them can give you the space you need to say, okay, I'm having the thought that I'm a failure, but maybe because that's a thought and not, a defining part of me, I can still go to the party tonight, or I can still go to the store, or I can still try on that test, even though I'm feeling anxious. it gives you that little bit of distance that you might need to do the things that you're actually wanting to do in that situation. So hopefully this has been helpful. I got this idea from Russ Harris, who is a great acceptance and commitment therapist, and he has written a lot of books, and I'll put some links in the description of the video below to all of his material. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and share it. Share it with your friends who may struggle with anxiety or feeling anxious occasionally, and I will see you guys soon.